but especially the Republicans. They had a chance to cut spending for 8 years, and Bush didn't veto a single spending bill. They had a chance to cut entitlements, and what did they do? Nothing. They added Part D drug benefits, as you know, the largest entitlement expansion since the 60s. So what are they talking about when they say no tax cuts? That is just phony baloney.
In passing these cuts and in arguing for their continuation, Ronald Reagan's tax cuts have been invoked repeatedly. Are they being invoked correctly, and are the results of those cuts being invoked correctly?
No, I think totally incorrectly. That was 1981. We had a clean national balance sheet. I remember well going in the first month, we had to raise the debt ceiling, $1 trillion. Here we are 30 years later, it's $14 trillion. Our economy has only grown 3 or 4 times. Our debt has grown 14 times. Now, what happened was we were going to cut taxes and shrink government. When it got to the job of shrinking government, what happened after a couple battles on the House and Senate floor is Republicans shrank from the battlefield. They were unwilling to put their rhetoric into action, and as a result, we got a one-sided policy. And the Republicans became the free lunch party of tax cuts. The Democrats became the party of defending what was there, the spending, the welfare state. We went 30 years of 2 parties competing to see who could give away more money, and as a result, we used up the credit card, and that's where we are today, and it's a very dire circumstance.
So when you hear all this go on, and as you say, Mr. Bartlett's remarks today, which offended us equally, I think, when you hear Ronald Reagan's name invoked as kind of some sort of patron saint of what has been done for the last 10 years and what is being proposed now, how does that make you feel, having worked with the man on these particular issues?
Well, I feel that his legacy is being abused. Ronald Reagan believed in hard money, not money printing like the Fed has been doing for the last 10 or years. He wanted prosperity from hard work, from investment, from entrepreneurial activity. We have only had bubbles and booms that were based on debt and money printing at the Fed. Those are the opposite of what Ronald Reagan believed in the 60s and the 70s, and as he went into the White House. And now you have all of these kind of ersatz supply-siders who basically, I think, are totally distorting what the whole program really was about.
All right, lastly, if you were involved in this administration in an advisory capacity or whatever, what would you be saying to them right now? What do they have to do at all costs?
I did spend a few years in the White House, as you know, and I would take the president behind his desk. I would open the upper left-hand drawer and say, Mr. President, that's where they keep the veto pen. You haven't used it. Get it out, and if they send you a bill that's got tax cuts for the rich in it, veto it. Take a stand and bring some discipline back to this country. If we're going to give tax breaks with Uncle Sam's credit card to the top 2% so they can go to Tiffany's and buy some more jewelry, where are we? We're lost.
And do you think there's anybody that has, in either party right now, the fiscal responsibility and the sense of disaster that is required to do any of these things, or are we headed to that cliff with no chance of putting on the brakes?
Well, I think both parties are racing towards the cliff. You know, it is not change you can believe in when you're going to negotiate a big, sloppy Christmas tree bill that's going to have an extension, not only the tax cuts for the rich and the middle class, but all the credit, all the business tax credits, all of this, and it's just driving us closer to the edge. It is really a sad thing to see happen.
David Stockman, former budget director.